r/AskReddit. What screams I peaked in high school? I dated a guy with his high school mascot tattooed on his arm. It was such a turn off. The fight in swastikas wasn't actually a thing. But you still have every reason to be turned off. Believe it or not, it was. There was an all-female Canadian hockey team that was the Windsor Swastikas. I probably took your joke too literally. A guy who graduated from my high school back in 2003 was arrested a few years ago for his second DUI. He was wearing his Letterman jacket in his mugshot. I picked up some stuff at my parents' house when I was 25. One of those things is my Letterman's jacket. Put it on, got in the car, had to stop for gas. Who happens to be filling their car next to mine? My high school wrestling coach. I wonder how much of a loser he thought I was. I wasn't even that good. I was once hanging out at my sister's apartment. I was around 20 or so. Everything was fine. And then I just happened to sit in her chair, in which her cat just pissed. I am horrified. Since I have to take public transport right after that to go to class, I believe. I'm hurrying to the train, smelling like ducking cat piss, drenching in my own sweat. Red from the exercise, because I had to run since I was late because of said cat piss incident. You'll never guess who I ran into at that very moment. My childhood crush. Ensue 30-45 seconds of awkward conversation where she asks me what I've become, while obviously checking my current terrible state and surely smelling the cat piss from me while I'm dying inside. I tell her I'm going to college. In a not so great college. And I believe it concluded with her saying something that nicely meant, "Oh, you're smart. I thought you would do better." This was 10 years ago and it is still a vivid memory. Edit. Just to clarify. She was not being condescending or mean purposefully. She genuinely assumed that I would do great things because I had good grades. And I didn't do my best impression that day, so she had a comment that was not mean, but still on the lines of what I wrote. Edit 2. Row. It looks like you enjoy my past suffering. I have so many childhood stories like that. Stay tuned. Partying with high schoolers when you're 30. Duck. I can't imagine this. I'm 32. And high schoolers seemed ridiculously young to me after about 23. It's strange because when you're 18 you enjoy hanging out with people that age. But when you're 23 like me, high school kids are literally stupid, loud, and just irritating. When I was their get, I bet older people said the same thing about me, but it's weird seeing it and noticing it be. We used to play indoor floor hockey in a loft room in the big gym of my middle school. One game I scored 3 goals. One of them being a bank shot off the wall. The next year I wrote about the game for an assignment in English class and the teacher read it to the class the next day. I'm not sure which one was my peak. Oh bless your heart. Still bullying the nerds at your 10-year reunion. Or worse. In real life. I briefly worked with a guy I went to high school with. And like 90% of our not work related conversations were him reminiscing about how much he'd bullied me in high school and acting like it was all a big joke. Imagine being that sad. Sharing every memory from Facebook, talking about the good old days and wish we could go back when it's only been a few years since graduation. I do the opposite. I delete half the memories. Same. I blocked most of my memories of high school. Billy Joel feels compelled to write a ballad about how you and your ex were the king and the queen of the prom. How the two of you married right after high school. And how it all went to hell from there. Bonus points if your names happen to be Brenda and Eddie. Brenda and Eddie. Guess you can't tell us more than you told us already. Selling pot to teenagers and then trying to get them to stay and smoke with you. When I was in high school, this guy a year before me had a fearsome reputation. At house parties, people would fear him just by name alone. He would show up to parties with his cronies and start fights. He came from a decent enough family. Everybody wanted to be on his good side. Anyway, he graduates high school. And most of us were still in 12th grade. I remember he used to come around lunchtime to smoke with the people out front. Shoot the breeze and talk about how much fun it is to just sleep in and do nothing and have all this freedom. A couple of months of "oh cool. 2. Why are you still here?" as we awkwardly shuffled back to class. Hit. I knew a guy who dropped out as a senior when I was a freshman. And throughout my entire high school career he was the dude who would show up to house parties and beat the hit out of people. Everyone knew who he was and was scared of him. I also recall seeing him brawl with dudes in the Taco Bell parking lot during lunch when he was, I don't know, 20? Many years later he resurfaced on Facebook with a face tattoo and a lot of posting about Jesus. He messaged one of my buddies out of the blue one day and apologized for punching him in the face like a decade earlier. Good news is hitheads sometimes try to turn their life around. At my 10-year reunion, the prom queen came wearing a tiara with a custom Queen 03 inches sash over her shoulder. I had to go outside, I was laughing so hard. But I'll be damned if she didn't rock that outfit the whole time. So, respect. Still sad though. Was the sash from back in the day? No. It was new. Me. In a horrid realization. In the back of my 92 Camaro. While icing that knee I blew out at the championship game senior year. Reading through the divorce papers. There's still time to open a gym. You'll have to sleep there for a while on account of the divorce. Become the overweight bald owner who still benches a disturbing amount of weight when he's not injured. Yelling encouragement at your regular lifters is a partial substitute for having friends and a family. Sounds like a Matt Damon movie produced by Adam Sandler and the mom from Gilmore Girls is the ex-wife. As someone who recently graduated, the students who returned to the school every time they came home from school just so people would pay attention to them. Also not sure how to explain it, but the people who now posts blank screens and just text on their Snapchat stories that just say things like always crazy to see who you can really trust when this happens or surprising to see who really cares about you when you need friends the most. Like I said, I don't know how to explain it, but there's definitely a correlation. Yup. Vaguing. Or vagabusting. From my experience. The people who vague about petty drama just haven't socially matured since they were like 16. I taught at RHS in the US for exactly 1 year. During that year some guy who had graduated a year or so prior came back to visit about 3 or 4 times. This douche just rolled into the school and would pop into classes to say hi to teachers and students in the middle of lessons. I have no idea why. But for some reason he was walking around barefoot too. He tried that hit in my class and I asked him promptly to leave. To which he said to me, "Oh. You're new here and don't understand that I'm sort of a legend around here. So people like to see me come by." Yeah. I kicked the legend the duck out and promptly advised my students to move on with their lives after they were finished with high school. I knew a girl in college who tried to do the same crap as the other guy I just mentioned. But her old school wouldn't allow her and her friends to even enter the building. She was really pissed about it and commented, "How can they do that? We ran that school." That was the saddest thing I had ever heard someone say. Still bragging about high school basketball games from 10 years ago. But what if you score 4 touchdowns in a single game? Poor owl. Want to earn money from home and set your own hours? Thank you all for the hella love. And sorry you all have had that bestie, read. Distant acquaintance, reach out to you with a desperate sales pitch. Boss babe. I can't ducking even with this hashtag. Teachers who suck up to the athletes and other popular kids and ignore the less popular kids. My freshman year Spanish teacher was like that. At my high school a coach was worshipped by the girls basketball team. My first year of college it came out he had been grooming the girls since middle school, 2012. Suddenly a lot of petty fights between the girls made so much sense. We had a high school coach that all of the female athletes used to hang around. He was eventually fired and arrested for sleeping with an underage student. Selling your pyramid scheme essential oils on Facebook. My cousin uses her daughter's birthday party to sell my grandma and aunt's hitty purses. Your cousin is a hitty person. Dropping out of college to promote your pyramid scheme. The class that graduated before me had their 10-year reunion last year and apparently a big fight broke out over something that happened when they were all still in high school. I guess that is one way to tell if someone peaked in high school. Pretty embarrassing. Maybe they just beat up the bully who continued bullying at the reunion? Filming yourself running drills and throwing footballs off camera in front of your van mobile home. What about talking about throwing footballs over the mountains? Getting the score of the football game you won against the school's rival tattooed on your shoulder. I went to school with a girl whose parents graduated from our high school 20 years prior. All 4 members of their family got the school's logo tattooed. Her boyfriend still goes to the football games and reposts his game highlights on Instagram. We're all 21-22. I'm from New Mexico and live in the largest city in the state. We've never had a good HS football team and the BF usually goes to pick up underage girls and brags to everyone about how he was the star football player. If someone from another team makes a really good play, he'll make some kind of remark about how he could have done it better, or he'll go into a detail about his JV football experience. I'll take big yikes for $200. Alex. Amateur. I'll take big yikes for $1,000. Alex. Didn't Holtzhauer teach you anything? Always showing up to the football field wearing your Letterman jacket. Years after you barely passed summer school in order to graduate. Thanks for watching and be sure to subscribe to RedditQueen for the best daily content.